You know the Long Island iced tea. It's a drink that's called tea, that doesn't contain tea, does contain far more spirits than seems sensible, and on paper, it's a complete mess of a drink. But somehow, it works. So today I'm going to show you how to make one. Welcome to Essential Cocktails. So I don't think the Long Island iced tea has a really kind of beautiful, illustrious history. It seems to have been created around about the 1970s, but I think most people watching this will have their own stories of Long Island iced tea, maybe from your kind of late teenage years, your 20s if that's when you're allowed to start drinking, and it'd often be served in a jug. It'd be a load of booze chucked in there, topped up with loads of cola, really sugary, really boozy, not great for the head the next day, but probably quite good times in your life. And what we're going to do today is make a slightly more refined version of the drink, taking a little bit more care, not getting too over the top on the booze, but still kind of balanced, brings through the cola nicely, has a little bit of that iced tea flavor, but not a really kind of messy, horrible jug of boozy Coke like you probably remember. So the Long Island iced tea actually has 5 different bottles in there. We're going to need all sorts of things, so get shopping. Vodka is going to be our number 1. Gin is going to be number 2. White rum is going to be number 3. You can tell this is going to be a pretty dangerous combination. Tequila is number 4. And Cointreau, or orange liqueur, is number 5. And this is a suite of alcohol you wouldn't usually put together, but in a Long Island iced tea, apparently that's a good idea. And you'll taste it later, and you know, I wouldn't necessarily beg to differ. So for our acidity, we're going to go with freshly squeezed lemon juice. We're going to go just a little bit of cane sugar syrup, but we're also going to get sweetness from the other ingredient, which is kind of famous and synonymous with Long Island iced tea, which is good quality Coca-Cola. And I like to use the OG, particularly in a glass bottle. I don't know if it actually tastes any better, but the experience of drinking from a glass bottle is always lovely, especially if it's really nice and cold. I don't know who exactly put all these bottles together and thought it was a good idea to make one drink from them, but regardless of what goes into the drink, this is an undeniably popular drink, and even in bars that don't list it on the menu, a lot of people will ask for it, just because it's kind of a cult classic. So some people build this drink in a glass, some people build it in a jug, sometimes in a big bucket, maybe a goldfish bowl, but we're not going to do that today. Whereas I like to actually shake the drink. So I'm going to go a little bit lighter on the booze than a lot of people would, and I'm only going to go 15 mils of each. But even 15 mils of each spirit is quite a lot when you add it all together, so you don't want to be drinking too many of these. So 15 mils of our vodka, 15 mils of gin to follow, which brings a little bit of the botanical notes, a little bit of a kind of citric character to the drink, a little bit of white rum, 15 mils once again, which has those kind of vanilla notes, a little bit of white chocolate in there, which actually ties in nicely with the cola, 15 mils of tequila. I'm going reposado, but a blanco would be more grassy. Reposado has more kind of rich notes to tie in with the Coke once again. 15 mils of Cointreau, which also has a 40% ABV, so this is no slouch of a drink. Take it easy. This brings a little bit of sweetness, a little bit of orange character. And then we're going to bring a little bit of welcome acidity to the drink, which is going to be 25 mils of freshly squeezed lemon juice. You could also use lime if you prefer, has a little bit more sharpness, but lemon juice is the kind of classic. And then again, 15 mils of our cane sugar syrup. I'm going with Monin cane sugar syrup, which is a 2-to-1 syrup, and this just brings a little bit more sweetness. To drinks with this many ingredients, I like to add a few seasonings to kind of bring them all together. And one ingredient that works with pretty much everything on the table is vanilla. And this isn't in the classic recipe, but it is a flavor in Coca-Cola. And I like to add 0.5 grams just to kind of bridge everything together. Before we shake the drink, I'm just going to prep my glass with our Coca-Cola because we're going to get a really nice looking layered effect on here. This isn't necessarily required, it just gives a really nice aesthetic to the drink. So before I shake the drink, I've just added 60 grams of Coca-Cola to our glass, and then we're just going to give this a good shake over ice. Not for too long, because we don't want to over dilute the drink, but we do need to give it a good shake to get all these kind of disparate ingredients to kind of come together. So we can do that now. If you want to slightly change the dynamic of the drink, you can use different base ingredients in terms of your soda. You could use something like ginger beer. You could even use Prosecco if you want to get all fancy. And then in terms of the spirits, you can use pretty much anything here as long as they do kind of synergize together. So adding vanilla to your vodka is really nice. Using darker, more aged spirits can work really well. But play around, this is a really good starting point, and then see what you can come up with. I'm just going to slowly pour this over the ice so that you get a really nice kind of layered effect on the drink. So don't pour too quickly, and you get actually quite a striking looking drink from something which isn't necessarily the most elegant set of ingredients. I'm going to carefully add our straw to the drink without interfering with the layering too much. Add yourself a slice of lemon or lime, whichever you want, so you can adjust the acidity of the drink. And who knew a Long Island iced tea could be so fancy? Before you serve the drink, you want to give it a little mix together. But there we have a very well balanced, slightly more elegant and leveled up Long Island iced tea. Enjoy that one.